second half. I thought we battled ourselves, maybe some collective adversity the first half, both ends of the floor, maybe missing an assignment or two on defense and dropping our heads and allowing that to affect our offense. But they made some tough shots. I wouldn't put the blame totally on our players. They made some really tough shots the first half, including a half quarter. And I thought the second half, although it took 6 or 7 minutes to unravel, I really thought our defense laid into them. We could hold them to 30% in the field and 25% from three. That goes a long way. And it doesn't hurt when you start to drop some shots. That's when it becomes almost a downhill war, which is what happened. And so people have to play us a little different this year with Darius at the point, being able to knock in some threes. And I like that for our team down the road. I'm really proud of Jack Benz. I saw exactly what he does every day at practice. No more, no less. And when we can play a game where our 2 point guards, Darius and Jack, have 5 assists and 0 turnovers, again, that's a good sign. Lastly, I thought we're a really unselfish play by Leonard. I thought Leonard could have taken 7 or 8 more shots in the paint. And he dropped off some beautiful, some that were caught finished, some that were caught missed, but nonetheless, I thought he was very unselfish on the offensive end.
Larry, I guess you went on that run. I think it was tied at 49, and you're able to go on a run at the end. Was it mostly because of the stops on defense? I know Nance had a block, a follow-up dunk, but was it the stops, or what sparked it? You think?
I thought clearly it was the defense, and we got, I think it was 7 consecutive defensive rebounds, so it was 1 and out. And we probably scored on maybe 3 or 4 of those possessions. But what happens is if you're pitching a shutout, you don't need a lot of runs. So we knock in 2, 3, maybe a 4th shot, and instead of it being tied, it's 13 or 14. And then I thought, now the biorhythms are up, and a lot of good things happen. But it was a 26-5 run to end the game in Illinois 3 or 4 days ago. I think it was a 35-6 run to end the game. And I like that because we had different people at different times, but they all seemed to step up when we needed them.
They called a timeout when you guys took a 51-49 lead, and that's kind of, you came out there and kind of went on, continued to go on that run. I guess, was there something that you told them in the huddle, or kind of what did you continue to tell them as it kind of went back and forth there, to get them to kind of open up?
I would love to tell you that I had some terrific comments. I think the comments were as such, guys, we don't need to win this game by 18, nor do we need to focus on winning the game by 18. It's one possession at a time, and the focal point should be on the defensive end. And if we make life miserable on the defensive end, good things will happen. Now, did I know that was going to happen? No, but that was the type of conversation. No great adjustments. As a matter of fact, we went with 2 actions the rest of the game, and we were not going to run anything but those 2 actions so we could simplify the offense.
Larry, I thought, you guys said that what they weren't doing offensively let them affect the defensive end a little bit too much tonight.
I think that happens to a lot of teams, and that's why I said collective adversity. I think clearly because of a couple shots that the other team made, or because of a couple of missed defensive assignments, we caved in a little bit mentally on offense, and that happens from time to time. I think hopefully and gratefully we had a reservoir of energy at the end of the game that helped us get over the hump. But the score did not indicate this game. I mean, this was not a 25-point game.
How much is Nance growing as a player?
I think Larry gets better every week, and I think Leonard really gains. Larry really gains from having Leonard next to him too, because Leonard's been around the block, and Larry dropped his head a couple times when he made a couple of errors, and it was Leonard actually that got back in his head, pumped him up, and I think the sky's the limit for a number of our players, but certainly Nance, because he's got some growth left in that body too.
It's kind of become a fan favorite. Surprised at that?
Not really. I feel a special way about all of these guys. And I'm just hoping that this was a great signal today that we could get 5,500 people on a Saturday afternoon to see a Division II team. Hopefully they start coming for us, you know, in the pit when they play Valparaiso or Idaho State. They got 16,000, and they sure as heck are not going to see Idaho State and Valparaiso. So hopefully that's the type of culture we can redevelop here. And quite honestly, we have to play into the hearts of our fans. We have to play a style of play that they appreciate.
Larry, you mentioned the previous 3 games would be a really tough stretch for your team, and it was. You came out with some pretty emotional wins. And I know you like to always improve each game, but realistically, could you have anticipated maybe a bit of a fall-off going home against a D2 team after those 3 tough games?
I think we talked about that the last couple of days as a staff and as a ball club. And these are growing pains. And I thought we did a good job of weathering the storm. But I can't help but to think, again, that the mental is usually 7 or 8 to what the physical is. 7 or 8 to 1. And so I think probably hidden back somewhere, there was a lot of excitement coming off the road in Illinois. And I think I attribute some of that today in the second half to our crowd. I really do. Our student body was terrific, and they refused to lower the volume, even when we weren't playing too well at times.
You got 10 days off now. I know there's finals for the kids. I'm sure you'll practice, but is this a good time to have maybe that long of a time between games?
We need some practice time. We need to get back to compete with each other. Our bench is going to have to be significantly important this year. And for them to do that, they need to battle up. And we need to start making the teams even again in practice. These last 11 days, it's been the starters and then a lot of scout team stuff. So very little hitting. We need to smash each other a little bit. We need to get back to competing. Maybe not a lot, but enough that we send the message that we need 10 or 11 guys. And, you know, these last 3 or 4 games, we've had different people at different times. But we need that collective teamwork definitely starting in 10 days.
Coach, do you like the fact that your team is winning in different ways and has kind of found different ways here recently to win ball games?
There's not much I don't like about our team right now. I like them as people off the floor. I like what they're doing up to this point before the exams academically. And I compliment them on the way they've been able to handle possessions and then specific game by game. And they haven't looked ahead, and they've never dwelled on the past. And I really appreciate that. And so there's not much I don't like about this group. There's a lot I can see that we need to further develop, but not much that I don't like.
When it comes to, I think, you mentioned the 3 guys who came in, who starts at 25 of the last 27 points. I know that the starters carried most of the scoring. In the previous game, I guess, how important is that? You mentioned the bench needs to step up. Is that in terms of offensive production, or what do you need to see out of those guys as a whole to kind of get to where you want to have them, so you're not having to play maybe your starters so much in key moments?
Ben, that's a great question. It's a question that's answered every day, and I remind them before every game and at every timeout. I am not looking for anybody to enter the game and affect our offense. There's no pressure on you. But I most definitely am looking for guys that can impact winning with the little things on defense and to make sure we don't go backwards defensively. And sometimes I don't say it too eloquently, but they know the message and they know what's required. And that's where we've got to get team production from our bench so that when we do get in a situation where we need to put them in the game, we stay the course or even improve on the defensive end. That's paramount for this ball club.
A couple of times this year you alluded to the fact that in the huddle timeouts, your big 3 or your seniors take over. They scored 25 in the last 27 tonight. Did they do any of that tonight, take over, or did you have to coach?
They huddle up and they call a lot of actions that people might think our staff does. And I want them to do that because in basketball, as I've said before, it's not football. You don't have every 30 seconds analyze upstairs, analyze downstairs, send the guy in, send the guy out. Things happen on the fly. And they have to be able to communicate and coach each other. And I don't think it's just the seniors. I think it's all 5 guys collecting, huddling up, hugging, and making good decisions. For the most part, I think they make great ones this year.
Anything else?